Assalamualaikum, a very good day to Doctor. My name is Nurina Suha binti Muhammad Kuzairi and my matric number is 272654. So I am from Group 6 and going to talk on the topic 2, which is the effect of COVID-19 pandemic towards micro, small and medium enterprise. So COVID-19 has resulted in a rapid and major change in the way of the MSME operates. Small business around the world have already seen significant change in consumer habits, customer behavior, product distribution and demand. So lockdown and other movement restriction prevent important person and employees from working. Other parts of economy also experience several job losses, resulting in significant decline in demand. Several other supplies company has gone bankrupt. Many predetermined production and demand patterns as well of distribution and customer preference have changed in ways that have yet to be fully quantified. The recovery does not imply in recurrence of the previous normal phase. It may imply a new normal that is easier than certain MSMEs and more difficult for others. So the findings of this study is provide useful information about the effect of COVID-19 towards MSME. So now I will going to talk about the point of writing. The first one is to explain the importance of MSME in Malaysia during COVID-19. So Malaysia MSME in particular has provide various type of employee opportunity to all the segment of the local community. So in fact, the existence of the MSE actually help the country economy and finance to grow. Furthermore, the MSME industry in Malaysia are important in paving the way of innovations, study, research using locally available materials. This situation can not only improve skill in the use of existing resource but also attract people by introducing new production in the eyes of outside community. So it is clear that MSME plays an important role even during the COVID-19 pandemic. Secondly is the two research for how the government handled the situation when MSME have been impacted by COVID-19. So during the third wave of COVID-19 pandemic, this condition have a negative impact on the MSME. To overcome this problem, the government have provided 3 types of stimulus measure totaling 260 billion ringgit were launched as part of the Prihatin, which is the community stimulus package Prihatin Rakyat, which subsidy deferred debt payments, cash giveaway and unrestricted internet access area, a few of stimulus package available. These have the potential to reduce the nation's current growing unemployment rates. In addition, the government may introduce or create a push class for digital and recovery related class in business. Thus, the government can develop or improve facility for this virtual operation and transaction to support company operation. The third one is to show the challenge and situation of MSME during the impact of pandemic COVID-19. During the MCO period beginning in March 2020, many business sectors are affected by the difficult in sourcing resource for production, declining demand in market, including the MSME industry. A survey of impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on online youth SME entrepreneur was conducted by the Ministry of Youth and Sport through the Malaysian Youth Development Research Institute. The most significant direct effect of the spread of COVID-19 on the respondent business was the reduction in revenue compared to the before the implementation of the MCO. The decline in average annual sales in 2020 is estimated to reach 45.1% compared to the average annual sales in 2019 due to the shortage and absence of customer as well as limited business. The last one is to discuss the action taken by MSME during COVID-19. Enterprise need to explore new market, new customer segment, introduce new product, redesign packaging size and quantity that are appropriate and relevant to the new market, as well as determine what customers want. Thus, SME entrepreneur also need to be smart to find approach and change toward new technology, digitalization, and online business to reduce cost and save time and resource. Therefore, with the active action of MSME to change their business pattern, this situation can definitely help them during COVID-19 pandemic. Next, I'm going to talk about the current situation. So the first one is a decline in sales and profit. So this is because they experience a decline in demand due to the closure of business operation during the MCO period. Due to this difficulty of raising sales revenue, MSME face cash flow issue. Numerous MSME business were unable to cover their operational expenditure due to a decrease in sales and revenue that lead to business closure in the long run. This result in the business to improve a lot of things, which require them to spend more capital to get the consumer attention. Furthermore, they are still recovering their loss during MCO. The second one is loss of employment. Because of the MCO, employers were only permitted to work from their home. So over 19% of the business owners in the field of MSME do not have insurance, and 70% of those business owners have no safety net to fall back on if they lost their job. The third one is supply chain disruption. So because of the lockdown limitation, movement and social isolation, the majority of MSME that cater to the demand of the local market have been serious disruption to their market channels. Export market are depending on the opening of the other nation. Additional, a significant portion of the industry and service are depending on supplies from China. Hence, once import are restored, a huge number of firms will be able to launch. The problem that have been occurring in the supply chain influence competitiveness, economic growth, and development of new jobs. The last one is to be more creative. There are also a positive impact identified, such as COVID-19 taught MSME to be more creative and use other initiatives to promote their business. There is an initiative for them to get their profit as they cannot run their business physically to avoid their physical contact. Even after MCO end and a business are allowed to run physically as usual, most business still continue their online business together with their physical business, make them gain a lot of customer and profit because of this multiple ways of running their business. So this is a positive impact of COVID-19 to MSME Malaysia. Next, I'm going to talk on the data finding. The first one is the impact of COVID-19 on the SME digitalization in Malaysia. SME business can employ digitalization to boost their productivity and competitiveness. Based on a data, Malaysia GDP shrank by record-breaking 70.1% year-over-year in the second quarter 2020. Business implement digital strategy to make up for the decline in traditional revenue resource. SME made up 66.2% of the Malaysian employment in 2018 and contribute 522.1 billion ringgit or 38.3% of the country's GDP. In Malaysia, 76.5% of SME are micro entrepreneurs. In comparison, only 2.3% of SME are medium-sized business. Next is the shortage of cash flow. So based on the chart, MSME GDP growth in Malaysia has registered negative 7.3% in 2020, which is during the COVID-19 issue by the light blue line. According to the age market, around 91% of MSME business in Malaysia has experienced lower sales or more than 50% in business performance as they are forced to close their firm temporarily or limit their operation during the implementation of MCO. Additionally, 1.2 million jobs have been lost as a result, at least 150,000 MSME closing their doors since the start of outbreak. Next is the impact of the MSME employment. So the result of the data show that at MSME, which had the impact of the COVID-19 in early of 2020 in terms of sales and losing some employee, slowly regains their pace and started to recover to some revenue in sales and rehiring permanent and temporary workers in late 2020. The net figure is from finding a prediction can be made by comparing sales revenue, permanent employment or non-permanent employment between early and late 2020. Next, I will going to talk on the discussion. So due to the spread of COVID-19, there are a lot of effect of MSME. First, MSME experienced significantly reduced employment, sales revenue, supply chain trouble in the first few months after the outbreak of pandemic. From the finding obtained in previous section, there is very significant problem whose impact will have to be borne by MSME in Malaysia during the outbreak of COVID-19, which began in early 2020. So the initiative of this scheme in channel through the Cone National, which offer financing, which is the help SME to recover back their business. Evidence that can be taken show that MSME are important to the national economy. In 2020, MSME contribute to 38.2% of the GDP and 30.5% of the country export. In effort to reactivate the economy after the COVID-19 outbreak, an initiative also implemented by the government is the provision of capital grants worth 1,000 ringgit to individual MSME and 3,000 ringgit to corporate business. This capital grant initiative is aimed to give an injection to restart their business after the domestic of COVID-19 cases show a decline. Not only implementation of initiative of the MSME sector was exempt from taxation for 4 to 6 months. MSME also who ran their rental costs also borne by the government for the same period. Significantly, this initiative is aimed to rehabilitation their business that have had to close for a long period of time and easing their burden. So, in conclusion, despite the difficulty MSME in Malaysia, nevertheless have high hopes of making progress and contributing to the overall growth of the Malaysia economy. As a result, it is of the important to find a solution not only to the crisis that is currently unfolding, but also to the repercussion that COVID-19 or lockdown will have the long run. Preparing both a short-term and long-term solution is a straightforward method for adapting to this pandemic and dealing with it. In the short term, the government and the private sector can work together to provide monetary support in the form of forgiving loans or direct cash aid. Moreover, the focus of the long-term plan is on the implementation and application of digital technology within MSME, as well as the preparedness for entering the age of Industry 4.0. So that's all from me. Thank you.